Hello everyone, myself Sangram Kesari Mahapatra, industry expert from 9sem.com. I welcome you all in 9sem.com. It is my fourth session. In this session I am going to cover a case study, that is secondary cooling process in casting unit of steel melting shop. Here it is a billet caster, where it consists of a ladle turret, ladle, tundis, mold, guide roller, secondary cooling zone and spray nozzle. As you see in the figure, there is a ladle at the top where molten steel is kept. Under the ladle there is a tundis and mold. When the operator opens the ladle, the molten steel in liquidous form falls on the tundis. Again operator opens the tundis, it will flow inside the mold where primary cooling is done. Everything is kept hold for few seconds by a dummy bar which kept inside the mold. When operator start the casting process, it will pull the semi-solidified liquidous steel from the mold through the guide roller, as you can see in the figure. So, impact of secondary cooling in casting process, why it is necessary. From the figure, as I told already, we can see there is a ladle in which molten steel at 1600 degrees centigrade approximately is allowed to fall in the tundis. The liquidous steel is then allowed to flow inside the mold tube where the primary cooling is done. While the stand is continuously withdrawn at the casting speed, solidification of steel continues beneath the mold through the different zones of cooling, having series of water spray. As you can see in the figure, the spray of the secondary cooling through the control valve. So the secondary cooling system consists of these different zones, each responsible for a segment of controlled cooling of the solidifying strand as it progresses through the CCM. Product quality in a CCM considerably influenced by temperature variation during strand cooling in secondary cooling zone. Hence, secondary cooling zone has a very important function for the maintenance of correct temperature parameter and is crucial to the quality of the cast steel product. So, the two mechanisms of overcooling and undercooling also lead to midway crack, surface crack respectively. Therefore, we need a dynamic secondary control system which helps predicting and controlling the temperature in real time accurately during continuous casting of steel. Such system adjusts the spray water flow rate in the secondary cooling zone of the caster for maintaining the desired temperature profile throughout the steel, even in significant variation in casting speed. That means the operator set a particular flow rate to spray the water in the secondary zone, which will maintain the temperature of the entire casting process of the billet. So it is regarding process point of view, but our main concern how the process control automation can be achieved throughout the secondary process cooling system. So instruments for secondary spray cooling system consists of a pneumatic control valve, electromagnetic flow meter, I2P converter, that is current to pressure converter, PLC and SCADA. So it is a block diagram where secondary cooling control system can be identified. You can see operator set a flow rate at 50 liter per minute, that is 50 LPM. When casting starts, the pneumatic control valve, as you can see in the figure, start to open. That means the water flow through this valve. Okay, now as you have seen in the block diagram, the operator set a flow rate at 50 LPM. So when the pneumatic valve starts to open while casting is going on, at the same time electromagnetic flow meter which is attached to the flow pipe can sense the flow rate. Let's say if it senses 40 lpm, our set value is 50 lpm, but electromagnetic flow meter senses 40 lpm. That means it is a deficit of 10 lpm that comparator detects. Ultimately, controller gives a command to I2P converter, which ultimately open the valve more so as to get the desired set point, that is 50 lpm. This process is done by a PID control loop, which is programmed inside the PLC. So, as you see, the electromagnetic flow meter in the figure attached in a pipe which senses the flow of water in the spray cooling system. As the operator set 50 lpm, it will compare that 10 lpm of water deficit. For example, electromagnetic flow meter senses 40 lpm. In that case, the controller, nothing but PLC, detects that 10 lpm of deficit water is there. So what will happen? What PLC receives from how PLC recognize that the flowing inside the pipe is 40 lpm. That means electromagnetic flow meter gives some signal to PLC. What is that signal? That signal is analog input signal, which is in 4 to 20 milliamp. The theory part of electromagnetic flow meter I have told already in my second section. You can follow. So, electromagnetic flow meter gives an analog input signal to PLC, that is 4 to 20 milliamp. So, for 40 lpm, the PLC controller recognize that the flow rate is low than the set point, that is 10 lpm deficit. Comparing this, it will generate an analog output signal which is also in 4 to 20 milliamp to what? To current to pressure converter. It is another transducer. This current to pressure transducer then converts 4 to 20 milliamp to pressure signal, that is 0.2 to 1 bar or 3 to 15 pound per square inch gauge. As you can see in this figure, an instrument air supply is there, air filter regulator, which fed inside a current to pressure transducer, that is converter. Now you can see 4 to 20 milliamp signal is fed through the I2P converter and output of pressure show in the pressure gauge. So it is the role of a I2P converter. Now how control loop completes? Then what is the role of I2P converter? It will generate the required pressure signal as per the required milliamp it will get, which is the our control output parameter or out control element. Control element is our pneumatic control valve. It will work according to the pressure that will give by the I2P converter. So you see in the figure, it is a control valve operation principle. While 0 milliamp, there is no movement of the diaphragm at the chamber. When the 4 milliamp, it will raise more. At 12 milliamp, it will raise another more. In this way, up to 20 milliamp, diaphragm opens. Hence, the valve will open and complete flow of liquid flows through the valve. When 0 milliamp, it will shut down the valve. The above theory point of view of a control valve operation, I will be explained in my next session. So, now how an air pressure regulator works in the control valve. In a pneumatic instrumentation system, instrument air is required to power the valve actuator. Air pressure regulator is a key component for the instrument air supply system. The air pressure regulator is simply a device. It is used to lower the main instrument air supply of a plant to a pressure for an air operated control valve. So in this figure you see there is a electromagnetic flow meter and a control valve. So when electromagnetic flow meter detects the flow. If it will deficit, it will open the pneumatic control valve. If it is more than the set value, it will close the control valve so as to maintain the set LPM by the operator. Whole thing done by a PLC controller. It is a PID control base. In this way, our spray controller system, our secondary cooling system can be achieved to maintain the desired solidification of the billet in the casting process. In this way, billet casting has been done. So this concludes a case study of secondary cooling system, which includes two transducer. One is magnetic flow meter, another is current to pressure converter. The application part that I explained in the steel melting shop. Okay, thank you.